The beat of New York.
103.5 KTU.
103.5 KTU, Cubby and Carolina, and our old friend Craig David's here.
Craig David!
How are you guys?
Now, when I say old, when I say old friend,
like that.
not age-wise, we've known the guy for a long time.
Yes. Well, he was at our K2 for you last year, and I don't know. I mean, listen, a girl can dream. If you could come back and do it all over again, we would totally appreciate it.
Listen,
you know?
I'll be there in a heartbeat.
The memories.
I had so much fun.
Yeah.
It was like, to that crowd that you have, like, it's so much about inclusion. Everybody's just there to have a good time.
Yeah.
Yep.
The vibe is awesome, right?
Vibe is
You're on the
so-
water.
Oh, and the weather was beautiful, and everyone came out like in full spirit. And the way that they received my TS5 set that I did was amazing. I was so grateful.
good.
Now, explain to everybody, you really never went away, right? I mean, people remember, 7 Days and Fill Me In and all the hits in the early 2000s, but did you ever take a break, or you've always been working?
Yeah, I've always been recording songs, but I think the period of time, like about 5 years ago, when I moved out to Miami, and that was a big shift for me, having been living in the UK for most of my life, and I was throwing this house party there that was just for a few friends before we went out for a couple of drinks before we hit the town. And this TS5 party, which is the name of the apartment, ended up being this thing that 5 years on, we're playing 100,000 people at Glastonbury on the main stage, and my friends, like my 10 same mates, are like, Are you photoshopping yourself in front of this crowd? This is crazy.
Because before it was just like the five of us and some Coronas.
Do you know what I mean? It literally was. And they have no idea that the impact that they had, because them messing around with my playlist when 1 minute it was Biggie, a nice little bit of Big Papa, and then somehow someone had a couple of too many tequilas and it went on to Macarena. And I'm like, yo, you sober up real quick when you hear Biggie verse getting cut out from Macarena.
That
And
is
that's how the
hilarious.
DJ thing started happening in my house. So I had to buy a little controller and did my whole thing. So it's amazing to see that something that started off so simple and so easy, which is like how the first album Born to Do It was,
Right.
then has such a big impact because you're not overthinking it. It's organic and it's real.
Yeah.
So
Well, speaking of playlists, it's interesting because I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and the one day I was, just letting it play, and all of a sudden I heard this song, and I was like, oh my gosh, I like that. Ooh, who is it? I feel like I know it. It's Craig David and Bastille. It's your new single. Like, that
Yeah.
came up, and it's such a great song. So tell us about how you guys partnered up and started working together.
Yeah, of course. We met in the UK on a radio station out there for the first time. And Dan, I love Bastille and everything that goes on with them. And Dan, being the lead singer, who writes most of the songs, he was just like, listen, you got to jump on our mixtape that we do. And I was like, okay, cool, let's do it. That somehow didn't come together. But then the next thing you know, I was in the studio with my boy Fraser T. Smith, who was my acoustic guitarist the first time round. Since then has gone on to produce Adele and Stormzy and all these different guys. And I was like in the studio and I was like, I've got to hit Dan up because this song is perfect for Bastille. I send a message to him and he says to me that he's 5 minutes down the road in the same area, yeah? I mean, this is where destiny kind of comes together.
Totally.
Right.
He comes into the
Is that
studio.
like kismet? Is that what they say? Is that the word or something like that?
I'll
Yes.
go with kismet.
yeah.
I like it. Do you know what I mean? It feels right. Do you know what I mean?
That's so cool.
And he was in the studio. We wrote the song and we looked at each other when we finished the melody. And I was just like, Dan, are you feeling the same thing I am? And he's like, yeah, it's a special record. It's about being with your friends and your mates. And it doesn't matter if it's 12:59 on New Year's Eve and you can't get in the club. As long as you're with your friends, somehow you have the best night, whatever happens.
Yeah.
And I don't say that for all of my songs, but this, it seems every time I perform it, it connects. And then the drop is the dirty bass line drop.
It's
When you
so
hear that, you're just like,
good.
ooh.
And part of that music video takes place in a karaoke bar, right?
Yeah.
What's your go-to karaoke song?
The crazy thing, if I go out with my friends, somehow they end up putting my tunes on as my go-to thing.
Oh, that's no fair.
Which is great.
See? Okay, unfair advantage.
Yeah,
I know,
unfair.
and I'm
no.
like, you know what, are you sure you want to do this? Like, yeah, and then a bit waved anyway. Okay, I'll sing you a little bit of Film Me and Walking Away then. Just
Yeah.
kill it, just
I
one time.
love that. Yeah, Cubby doesn't have a go-to karaoke song because he wants to spare the people in the
Exactly.
bar, you know?
Although I do prefer "We Are the World."
Yeah,
Because
that
there's so many
brings
people on
up.
that song, you know?
Yeah,
You only
yeah.
want it for a second or two. This is your 7th album coming out, by the way. Is that true? 7th album. Wow.
Yeah,
And-
like the brand new one is called Time. The Time Is Now.
Yeah.
It's out January 26th. But all the feels of my first album, Born to Do It, it's an R&B album. I feel that 2018, 2019 genuinely are the years of R&B again. If you were there the first time round, you're going to hear a lot of the old samples coming back through. But if you're on the new wave with the Kalanis and the Khalids, and there's a track I've just dropped with Kate Trinado and Gold Link called Live in the Moment. So it's
So you're saying
about
like in the
new
early
wave.
2000s when Ja Rule and Ashanti were ruling the airwaves along with you, like that whole vibe could come back or is coming back?
100%, but it'll be a new wave. Like I
A
said,
new wave, right.
It will be Anderson .Paak and it will be Gold Link and it will be
Is
Kalani
Gold Link the one that
featuring.
she see money all around me? That one, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
oh,
I
dude.
like that one.
Yeah.
and that's the flow. But the thing is, it's the greatest thing for me was leaning into the unknown and working with young producers, because there's no point me coming back and throwing up 7 days and doing a rehashed version of
Right.
an old tune, because you're going to get that from a lot of artists from the late 90s, 2000. But to be relevant, in the UK, but to see 15-year-old kids saying, "Have you heard of this new guy called Craig David?" And
Right.
they're telling
That's
their-
so weird.
They're telling their older brother and sister and mother and father, and then saying, Craig David? And then they're going
Exactly.
they're Born to Do It album and pulling out 7 days, and then they're having a moment where they're both talking about me, but relevant to two different generations. And that for me is what's exciting about Come to America, because I can see that can happen all over again with I Know You will be brand new to the 16, 17-year-old kid.
Right.
But the people who know me would be like, but yeah, I know 7 days and I know Feel Me. It's amazing.
It's
Yeah.
so funny how, like, remember when Paul McCartney did the song with Kanye
Yeah,
and
of
Rihanna,
course.
and they were like, "Wow, it's really great that they're giving that old guy
Oh, I couldn't get over that.
fresh
Yeah,
start,
of
like,
course.
you know, his shot." And it's like, that's Paul McCartney from the Beatles.
Do you
you
know
know?
the mad thing about it, fun enough, is that I learned that if you don't tell the story, because a lot of artists from like, if you've been around the first time, want to tell you, I've been doing this, I did that, and I was in the arenas and we sold this. No one cares. The
Yeah.
16-year-old kid genuinely does not care. They're like, are you on my radar right now?
Now.
And that's it. And I'm kind of okay with that. I'm like, listen, if this is the first time you heard me, I'll be that new guy for you right now.
Well,
And
that's a
cool.
beautiful thing,
Yeah.
because that means, you know, your ego is in check. And I think that
There
a
you
lot of
go.
times in this industry, you know, I was telling Cubby and Colleen, I'm reading a really great book. It's called Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday. And and that's what it speaks to. It just says, you can grow so much more by letting things like that go. Of
course.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I also think that maybe your audience or your crowd, do you think that a lot of it comes from, like, you DJ in Ibiza, like, a lot, or Ibiza, however you want to say it. Do you think that that really is an introduction to a lot of people as well?
Yeah, of course. I mean, TS5, like that whole house party, like little did I know that I was DJing before when I released the first album. So I was on my Technics 1210s and vinyl. So I've honed my
Rewind,
craft.
right? Was technically you were DJing?
Rewind, all those tunes from
That
back
was the
in
first
day.
time I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, listen, you learn everything. When the needle's skipping and the crowd's looking at you and you're in a club and you're like, okay, fight or flight, you got to grab the mic and freestyle and just
Yeah.
like sing ad lib and then while your other hand's trying to find another record and put it on. If you can handle that, you can handle anything with all the new technology now. So the DJing element I brought back in. But then I've got 17 years worth of songs that I can flip. Like I can do Walking Away now in a club environment, but I'll flip it over Still Dre, Dr. Dre, and
Oh, I
all of a
love
sudden
that.
everyone's like,
good,
"Oh
yes.
man, he's doing Walking
yeah.
Away," but this is relevant. Or Cardi B, Bodak Yellow,
Yeah.
or whatever it may be. I can flip the instrumentals, come out of the booth, do a little song, come back, mix two tunes. That's what TS5's done for me. So the pool party has just allowed it to be in a different setting, and it still works there. Or being in an arena, which we've been in. So it's been crazy.
Speaking of arenas, 2018 will be filled with you doing a lot of shows, right?
Yes.
And arenas everywhere, right?
Yeah. I mean, I want to come do KT Euphoria. I mean, like, and get back in the
We
mix
would
and,
love
and
that.
do that
Right.
again, because that was fantastic.
Yeah.
And that was the first, to be honest, TS5. Like,
Yeah, back in June.
Yeah,
Right.
to see that kind of connect, and that I didn't have new music at that point as well.
Right.
So I've seen it happen back overseas, and I've seen it go from 250 capacity to, like I said, to main stage at the Glastonbury, which would be your Coachella. 100,000 people seeing the TS5. So I know it can happen. I want to give you laminates to Madison Square Garden when we get there.
Oh, yeah.
Trust me, man, we can say that you can go back to this interview and we
We're
can look
down.
back and we can
Yeah,
say,
no, don't ask us.
Don't
we will
tw-
be
yeah,
there.
exactly.
I've got
You know,
you.
my friend asked me, she goes, just ask him, like, does he know any of the royals? Like, is he going to be at the royal wedding? I said, he's British, but that doesn't mean he gets invited to everything.
Listen, I'll roll with it as if like I'm down, me and Prince, Harry and William and Meghan, we just chill, and then the Queen go
That's
over for
right.
like some crumpets and some.
Yeah.
I'll rock that though.
Yeah, so
Live
you're
the
not going to
dream.
be, you're not available May 19th because you're going to be at the royal wedding, right? That's what we're
course.
going to tell everybody. So
See what I mean?
Yeah.
Act the
You could
part,
totally DJ
Act
it.
the part, become the part. Imagine doing a TS5 set there.
Oh my God,
they
it'd be
would,
huge,
That
They
would
would
be
learn about
crazy.
some R&B that night. Oh, yes.
Are air horns still a thing in a DJ set? The
Yeah, they still
Really?
they still pop off. I just don't do it as much as some of the DJs. They
Right.
let loose on that thing. There.
They
yeah,
really do.
If
Yeah,
Cubby had one,
100%.
he'd do it every 5
Oh, I used to
seconds.
love it. Yeah, yeah.
I remember actually, I did meet Prince William at one event.
No
and
way.
He is the coolest guy. Like it was an award ceremony. He was about to present an award, and I was standing next to him. But when you stand next to him, you're thinking, should I say anything? Should I not? And he
Right.
just says to me, Craig, man, I'm feeling Rewind, man. Back in the day, that was a vibe. And I'm thinking, This is
Yeah.
brilliant, man. This is Jeez.
That is
Oh
cool
my
as hell,
gosh,
man.
talk
He's
about
keys
making
down.
your
Trust
night.
me, he knows. Trust me, they know. They
Oh,
know.
that's awesome.
Well, Craig, we love you. You know, there's not many people that we know when they're coming up that we immediately go, oh, I can't wait to hang out with
Yeah.
Craig, because you're one of the nicest guys in the business.
Thank you.
And we can't thank you enough. And again, the new CD, The Time Is Now, out on the 26th of this month. And congratulations on everything, man.
Thank you so
And
much.
To a
So
big
good seeing you.
2018, baby.
Yeah.
Thank you, yes.
Craig David, everybody.
Thank you.
oh
The beat of New York.
1035 KTU.